God, don't spring it on me like that. Hello.
Welcome to the Knit Girls.
This is episode 161. And I'm Leslie, also known as You Don't Call Me Les.
I'm Laura, also known as Lala.
And she usually gives me like, 3 or 4 seconds of silence to cue me that it's time, and she didn't this time. So
going it live. No show notes either.
Yeah, because we haven't quite figured out the setup here yet. So anyway.
We haven't figured out a lot of things.
Welcome, if you're a new viewer, and welcome to all of our returning viewers, all 4,502 of them.
4,502 people in the Ravelry group when we started recording. So I saw we hit 4,500 and got very excited.
Yeah, it's great to see that the community continues to grow, and we enjoy having each and every one of you.
For sure. So what are you working on?
A lot of things. Unfortunately, my cast-on list keeps growing and growing. So right now, I'm working on the out of post yarn, and this is from simplysockyarncompany.com. I think it's simplysockyarn.com, and their shop is in an old post office building, and this is the Seattle Coffee Blues colorway. And
they change up their colorways, so there's constantly an evolution of new colorways, but they also sell commercial yarns. Like if you're looking for the opal that I showed last week with the lipstick, the eyes, and they sell that, and they have a bunch of different colorways. So I'm resisting the urge to go. There's a yellow, black, and gray one. I'm resisting the urge to go back and get that one.
That's a great colorway in like the quilting world right now.
That's a great colorway in my world right now. I'm a little bit obsessed, and it's not just for stealers; it's for other reasons.
Yeah,
as well.
I like the schema together, the colors together.
All right, so you're knitting?
I'm knitting the Hugo sock, which is a brand new pattern that just came out by Stephanie Bold. And it's a simple pattern, so it would work well for a man's sock. But it's just interesting enough that it's not simple, just plain round and round stockinette. So it's got these bias panels on the side. Let's see if I can stick my hand in here so maybe you can see them a little bit better. But it's got these bias panels on the side. And it just creates a little bit of a snugger sock because of the bias, pulls the fabric in a little bit. So I'm almost to the heel. I haven't quite decided how long I want these yet. But, and I'm knitting these on, and again that's Hugo by Stephanie Bold, and it's a free pattern. And I'm knitting these on some needles that I'm sorry if you can hear my son stomping around. On some needles I got at Webb's when I went on my grand adventure with Suze. These are the Knitter's Pride Nova needles. We're recording, sweetheart. You need to go back upstairs.
Where's Michael?
He's outside in the backyard. These are the Knitter's Pride Nova needles. And they were very inexpensive. I want to say they were like $6 a set. And this is the US 1 2.25, and the join is fantastic on them. I can't say for how well they hold up over time, just because I don't know. This is the first project I've used for them, but I like them a lot. They're pretty inexpensive too. So that's the first thing, and that's in a Piddaloo bag that I've had for ages and ages. And what else do I have on the needles? I've started the Vivid blanket, which is ridiculous because who has the attention span for a blanket? Not this girl, but I'm doing it anyway.
I think everyone's doing it. I think we all convinced each other that we were going to do it.
So this is out of the Handmade in the UK book that we reviewed last week, and we're going to give away a copy this week. And she does it in different sizes, fingering weight, DK weight, and worsted Aran weight. And this, I'm doing a worsted Aran weight, but the sizing is kind of between the DK and worsted because I'm not getting gauge, and I don't really care. It's a blanket. It doesn't really matter.
As long as you're consistent for you.
Yeah, as long as I continue to use the same needles and yarn, I should be fine. So this is what the square looks like, and it looks a little wonky because I put it on a small circular needle, so the stitches were all kind of pulling out.
Thank you.
But anyway.
Cody's eating fortune cookies upstairs.
Sorry. Like, he's not said a peep all day to anybody.
Now it's like, ooh.
And I know our viewers are like, oh, it's so cute when he makes an appearance. Like, it's cute when it's not your kid, right? I mean,
well, I'll take your word for it.
Anyway, So this is the first square, and it needs to be blocked because it does look a little wonky from being on those circular needles and it being tight, because for some reason I thought doing this on a 16-inch needle would be a smart idea when I need to magically, but it's just not. But I will say that she uses what's called a pinhole cast on for the circle in the middle. And I don't know whether she made this up or whether it's existed before. I meant to research that before we sat down and I just forgot. But it is genius because you can, the way that you cast on, you can pull the end tight when you're done and there's no hole.
That's very cool.
So I think it's genius.
That is smart. And
this took me, we watched Sahara last night.
Because I was having a crappy day and I needed some eye candy.
Some Matthew McConaughey,
yes.
And then I think I worked on the edging for maybe 45 minutes this morning. So I would say it's under 3 hours for a square. Probably it'll go faster the more that I do and the more that I remember the pattern. So that's another thing I have on the needles.
Do you have anything else?
I have my Caulfield sweater. Hasn't been touched, so I'm not going to show you that. And I have my Windy Mystery, which also hasn't been touched, but I'm going to show you that anyway.
Well, the clue just came out yesterday.
The clue 2 came out yesterday, and Vivian,
that's pretty.
I don't know why I just said Vivian. Dorian was knitting on the clue at Knit in Public Day when we met up with her yesterday, but I wasn't quite brave enough to bring lace out to knit in public because I knew that I would screw it up.
What yarn is that?
This is Fino Alpaca with a twist. Okay. So it's alpaca silk.
In a lace weight.
In a lace weight, yes. And I'm using size 6 circular signature circulars. And this is the Windy Knits Mystery Shawl.
2013 shawl.
2013.
And
I have a bajillion stitch markers.
What size are you doing?
I'm doing the biggest.
Okay.
So it comes, you can do it in a 400 yard, 600 yard, or 800 yard size. And I'm doing it in the biggest size because I'm going to give it away at SSK as part of the fundraiser. And I like to separate all of my sections with stitch markers because then I immediately know if I'm off on the count. And she recommends that as well.
She also says that they move in this next clue.
Yes, they move on one row in the next clue because it's during a double decrease. So I think this is what I'll probably work on tonight, maybe tomorrow, I don't know.
Cool.
So that's all I'm working on. That's all. Just those 4 things. So.
Well, I didn't touch the antler cardigan this week. I drove for 2 days straight, so I didn't get a ton of knitting time in. But yesterday we went to Knit in Public Day, and I did work on my Gills Rock by Paula of the Knitting Pipeline. And that's what the pattern looks like. It's a Quince & Company pattern. And I am knitting it out of Cakewalk HD yarns. And I am almost done with what she, thank you. It's so nice having you near me.
Just for this purpose.
Just for your hands. So I have around 2 more rows and I would be ready to do the garter on the edge and be done with it. But I am going to add in an extra repeat because I have this much left over. And the Cakewalk yarns has been so nice to work with. I want to use up as much as I can. Plus our friend Steven S.O. Waters finished one and he added a whole, he could get through a whole another 24 rows with his. And it's, so mine right now is measuring, you saw Leslie help me stretch it out. This spine right here is around 12 inches long. And I want it to be a little bit longer than that. And it's around 40 inches wide right now and I want it to be a little bit wider than that as well. So I'm going to add as much as I can. So that's the first thing.
At least the pattern lends itself to, you can kind of stop whenever you want.
It's very easy to modify. And it's a great pattern. It's very clearly written. The charts are very nice and big. So Paula did a great job. I wouldn't expect anything else, but Paula did a great job. And it's been a fun knit. And it was easy enough that I did take it with me for Knit in Public Day yesterday and just knit on it for several hours, both in the car when Suze was driving and then when we were actually there and when I was sitting around just chit-chatting with people. So, and that is in my Tangerine Design Sherlock's bag. The other thing I have on the needles I cast on yesterday in the car while Suze was driving actually. I had finished some socks and I wanted to cast on some new socks to have. I'm in the middle of the row apparently because we had gotten out at the farmer's market.
Those are the same colors you referenced earlier.
I know. I might have bought some more of them in the Amy Bethel tape. This is the tip top of a sock, and I'll show you the pattern in a second, because it is a pattern sock, but I'm still on the ribbing on the cuff. It is from Inspiration Dye Works, and their basic sock yarn. This colorway is Caution Stripe. I did look yesterday. They have several different sets for pre-order, different balls, because it's fall, for pre-order. This wasn't one of the colorways they had, but they had a bunch of different ones, which I had to close the screen. Luckily, that choice was made easy for me, pretty much so.
We'll talk about that later.
We will. So it is a 4-ply fingering weight, 75% merino, superwash merino, 25% nylon, 463 yards. So great yardage, yeah. A great blend for socks, and also a great ply structure for socks. More than 3 plies, 3 or more is what you typically want for some long-lasting socks. So, and I think the yarn was under $30 for self-striping yarn. I'm knitting these on carbons.
Fixed circulars.
Fixed circulars. Leslie, 2 of them, even though they're kind of wonky looking right now. Leslie picked these up for me at Fiber Space when she went and took her Amy Herzog class, and I'm really enjoying them. The needle tips are a little bit small for me. That would probably be my biggest complaint, but they are very clearly labeled. It's size 1, 2.25s, but this is a little bit short for me. This is probably around
4 inches, maybe 3.5.
Probably 3. I find myself knitting a lot on the tips on these, so this will probably be a tighter sock for me.
Which may be good, because overall you're a loose knitter, but if it's not a comfortable needle to use, then that's a whole different thing.
And it's fine. Like, I was actually really enjoying it yesterday, but I've only knit that much on them, so it's hard to tell. I'll tell you all a little bit more about those later.
Plus, once you get into the stockinette, you may hit a rhythm.
Yes, definitely. And then the socks, I almost said shawl. The socks that I'm doing, it's a pay-for pattern, and they're the basic shaped arch socks. And let me blow up that picture. So they're pretty much plain stockinette until you get down to the gusset and heel, and the decreases in the gusset and the heel and the foot of the sock form an arch shape. So I wanted to try something a little bit different. So I am doing these top down, which is unusual enough for me, but also using a little bit of a different gusset shaping. So those are the 2 things that I'm working on. And this isn't a bag. To show my bag.
Yes.
Seashore Sharon yesterday surprised me with this bag, and it's quilted and interfaced. Not quilted, but interfaced, and just really, really nice. It's got a pocket in it. And
it's garden because it's the Garden
State, yep. And it's got a snail. It's a happy snail. It's right there.
Yep.
But it's and a ladybug, a very, very cool bag. And I immediately put my project in it.
And Sharon is making a couple of bags for our SSK door prizes, which is exciting. And she's doing something even more special with one of them. So we'll talk about that closer to the event.
Yep. So that's the antler sweater. And the rose water are still on the needles. The rose water, I just didn't have a space in my life this week where I could sit and knit on lace.
And that's fine. I mean,
so that's all.
You had some stuff going on this week.
I drove
1,000 miles.
1,000 miles. It's a little bit of stuff.
Yeah, and it rained like the whole way, I think. Poor Laura got on the road and it just opened up.
It's like, hey, tsunamis, how you doing? No, it was fine. That part was fun. I got to stop a lot and take pictures of selfies of me in my car.
I forgot to talk about my color scheme for Vivid. And I joked yesterday that Laura was a dream killer, when in reality she's more of a realism guru. That's much nicer than dream killer, right?
I think after you call me dream killer to like 10 random strangers.
Yeah, you know you're friends with somebody.
Yeah, I don't think they thought you were friends with me.
So, I think I was inspired by Amy Beth, who showed in her last episode Her Square. And really, who doesn't want to be more like Amy Beth?
Seriously.
So this was my first one. And these are my other colors. Here. So they're all sort of muted earth tones, I guess, except maybe the orange might be the brightest, sort of. I don't know. I think that could go for earth tone. Plus, this here. So there's three grays and a green and an orange, and I like them together. And I think that it'll go well in my house, which is mostly very natural, like browns and taupes, and mainly
it'll go well.
I don't decorate a whole lot, but I like this, and I'm enjoying knitting. The pattern was very quick, very well written, very direct and to the point, and I enjoyed it. So, and these are all vintage worsted, Barocco vintage worsted. So it's like
acrylic wool blend.
Yes, acrylic, 52% acrylic. 40% wool, and then the rest is nylon, so like 8% nylon. My main thing was that I wanted it to be machine washable.
And then she picked up Quince & Company.
And then we went to, gosh, what was that shop in Philly? Hidden River Yarns. And they had Quince & Company, and of course I was like, oh, wouldn't it be genius to do a Quince & Company exclusive blanket? And the colors were beautiful, but it's not machine washable. You can maybe machine wash it, maybe on the delicate cycle, but you wouldn't be able to dry it in the dryer.
And she was insisting that she wanted machine washable earlier in the day when we were at Wool Bears.
And so then I called Laura a dream killer to a bunch of strangers. But anyhow, so sorry, I took over again.
Okay.
Do you have any finished?
I do have a finished object. I finished my Kirby Warby socks. Yep. And I can't remember the colorway name, but I've said it for the last month. So. And
I keep wanting to say it's Scooby-Doo, but it's not.
It's not. And the tag's sitting by my computer at home where I normally record.
Not super helpful today.
No, not super helpful today. And I'm using Leslie's sock blockers, which are not Laura-sized sock blockers.
No, they're not.
But these are, the yarn is Kirby Warby. These were knit on size 1 needles on my Eddie Sock Rockets. And they use an Afterthought heel. Mm-hmm. So that's about it. Just plain stockinette, Afterthought heel, toe up. I even matched the little blips of yellow on the top of the bind-offs. So they're pretty well matched, I would say. I actually finished these because on Monday and Tuesday I was at a work function and I didn't think I was going to be able to knit. So they were in my bag, but I was like, you know, I think this one was like up to here. I probably won't get a chance to knit, so I didn't bother throwing the other one off the blocker and in the bag. And then I got a chance to knit. So I texted everyone that I knew that watched the show, and Amy of Knitting in Circles took a screenshot of the show so I could see where I had started, what color I had started the ribbing on.
So she MacGyvered
this. So I could figure out, you know, what color I had started the ribbing on and what color I had finished with, because I couldn't remember. So she is my hero.
Desperate times call for desperate
Froggy
measures.
Monkey, you're my hero. So those are done and finished, and these are the only socks that I brought to wear in New Jersey. So I'm
Seriously?
Yeah. I didn't pack socks apparently.
I was going to say intentionally, because...
No, not really.
Okay.
But I am pretty sure that I have the ability to make new socks.
You do.
So,
and I hear that you can get them really cheap at Walmart.
Yeah.
I'm told that all the time.
Plus you have a circular sock machine.
I do.
So
that you need to play with.
That I'm planning. I brought some old yarn just to play with on that too. So I think I have the ability to create my own socks, and it's summer, so it'll be alright.
This is true.
So that's the only thing that I have finished. Yes, that is correct.
I sort of cheater have two things. One, I found this week while I was kind of organizing things for Laura to come here, because this room is a disaster. I'm not going to lie and say, like, some people that podcast that I know personally have very tidy homes.
Diane and Amy.
Diane of Knittables and Amy of Knitting in Circles.
And I'm sure other people we watch have tidy homes.
Those are just the people
too.
I've personally met and can attest to it. But I'm just not one of those people. I mean, my house is clean, but it's very cluttered.
In case you can't tell by what's behind us.
But anyway, I found my color affection, and I wove in the ends and blocked it this week. It's been done for, I don't know, a long time.
That's really pretty.
And this is Miss Babs in oyster, French marigold, and deep sea jellyfish.
I actually brought my kit to work on.
And this is not for me. I'm not going to keep it because I cannot pull off orange quite like this. So, and that's fine. I mean, I have no problem giving it away. And so that's sort of my one cheater FO, in that I blocked it. and woven ends.
But that does not count for stash.
I'm not counting it for stash. And then this, I finished my Unwind Yarn Company shawl, and this is going to be named something I've completely forgotten, but it's the Spanish word for poppies. Crap, I forgot it. I'm sorry. Dana of Unwind picked the name, and I've got it pulled up. I'm sorry, this is super tacky, but I'm going to pull it up because I would feel like a real jerk if I couldn't remember. I was
just going to Google Spanish word for poppies. Let's see who can do it faster. Crud, that's not what I wanted to do. Not me.
It's a race. You're not going to win. I wish, would you come up already? Good gracious.
I might win.
No.
Amapolis. Yes, I won.
No.
I started totally spelling it before you said it. It's spelled like that.
And it's the Spanish word for poppies, and poppies are still used for remembrance when it comes to soldiers, and it just had, and because the color is Stop and Smell the Poppies, it kind of has that tie-in. So
I totally was going to say poppies are used for opium too, but
I don't think that's quite the inspiration Dana was going for. So this is what the smallest size looks like. I'm going to write it for multiple sizes. And if you're interested in testing, send me a PM.
That would be a great
baby. Yeah.
Yes, as well.
So it's got gentle short row shaping that creates some really gentle curves, and it'll be a free pattern. I'm not going to charge, because really, unless I feel like it's too difficult to figure out without looking at it, I wouldn't charge. I personally wouldn't charge for it, and I could figure this out without a pattern, paying for a pattern. So, and this
obviously because you wrote it.
Well, yeah. This is one skein of the orange, which is Stop and Smell the Poppies, and the sparkle base from Unwind Yarn Company. All these are sparkle base from Unwind Yarn Company. 1/2 skein of the cerulean, and 1/2 skein of the goldenrod. No, it's not goldenrod. I'll put it in the show notes. But anyhow, this is the smallest size. I'm going to write it also for DK and then maybe worsted or Aran. But you can fold it just like a triangular shawl.
And wear it doubled.
Yeah, yep. And wear it around, or you can just kind of make it.
You can actually fold. Yeah, you can fold this corner a little bit under.
Yeah, just
not that much. Yeah.
Fold it like a little bit under like that,
and that creates a bigger triangle.
Yeah. But I'm a big person, and this is a small shawl, so well, this is too small for me to wear like huge, like a big, huge wrap. It's plenty big enough to wear as just a regular shawl. So, like I said, I'm going to write this up. I'm looking for testers for the medium, like I want to say DK, and then some for the worsted and Aran. And it's Amapolis is the name of the pattern.
Cool.
And then spinning, and while you are talking about spinning, I'm going to get up and plug in the camera so it doesn't stop recording in the middle of our episode.
Awesome.
I haven't done this in a while, and I totally forgot to do that.
So I've been spinning a lot since I've been at Leslie's. It's been kind of like I wanted to get something off the bobbins, and then it's been kind of like my pacifier. So I was spinning some Into the World in the Abercrombie colorway in a merino silk blend, and this is the first bobbin. This was already done. I think this one was done. It's got glitter on it from something else I was spinning earlier, so it's actually thicker. It's pretty fine, and I've really been enjoying spinning it. I actually put it on the wheel when I got my lace flyer at the end of March, early April, so it's been on the wheel quite a while. And then there's the second bobbin. One of those is definitely bigger than the other. That'll be fun.
I don't think so. I think that it's just not quite distributed because it's not on like a woolly winder.
Nope. And these are the lace bobbins.
Sorry, my dog. It's
it's chaos today.
It is.
So there's two, and I'm going to plow them together later. But we had some other things to do today.
Yep.
So I want to just do it all at once, and I'm probably going to use Leslie's mini spinner because on the mini spinner. you have to switch out some bands when you switch from the lace to the regular, and I didn't bring my bands with me. I brought some bobbins so I could spin on lost lace, but I didn't bring the bands because I'm lazy. But
she brought a whole lot of stuff though. We'll talk about that later.
So that's the first thing that I finished spinning. I probably spun around 1.5 ounces, and it took me around to get through that ounce. Actually, it probably took.
I kept saying, "Oh, you're almost done," and she would look at me.
We watched probably 7 or 8 podcasts, so it was a while. Anyway, and then I started plying.
Kobe.
Yeah.
Take the dog upstairs and stay upstairs.
Okay.
Thank you.
You don't just keep going down it.
It's Neelix's fault.
It is.
He keeps coming down.
He has the ability to have coherent, conversations.
I started, and I haven't rewound this because I wanted to show you. So on my Jenkins Turkish, I was plying a couple episodes ago some ponies that I had spun from Gourmet Stash. She generously given me a 1/2 ounce. And then I had also had on one of my supported spindles some merino. It was a Neil brand spindle that I had taken the Flegel class, and I had spun around a 1/2 ounce on there, and it was getting pretty full, and I was like, well, I'll just ply these together. So this is what, when you take the ball off of a Turkish spindle, this is what it kind of looks like, and it pulls out it creates a center pull ball, and you can pull right off through the middle.
And while that is a super cool feature, I don't think plying on a spindle is...
it was interesting. I've never plied on a spindle before. Usually when I spin on a spindle, and then I take my my singles and I wrap them either on a toilet paper roll or Shock sells these paper bobbins that you can buy from Webb's or the Woolery, and they're very inexpensive. They're like $2 for a paper bobbin, and they fit right on your normal lazy cape, which, toilet paper rolls will too. But these are fancier than toilet paper rolls, so if you're taking them out in public, and I use them mainly when I teach classes. So
Not that it makes any difference. If you use toilet paper rolls and that makes you happy, rock on with your thrifty self.
I always forget and I throw mine out, so this was a very economical choice for me. But anyway, this is what it looks like, and I'll wind this off later, and then we could do like a yardage guess. How many yards do you think? So it's basically 1 ounce.
I would say you have about 120, maybe 130.
I'm gonna go with 75, so we'll see who's closer. So I'll wind it off on a skein winder, and then soak it and whack it and hang it up to dry, and we'll see who's closer. But so that's the spinning that I finished, and then I needed like a palette cleanser project. So on the mini I have 2 more bobbins because I like my little lace bobbins. I have 4 of them. So I started spinning some hobbledehoy, and I've spun 2 of them. One's still upstairs. Well, one and then a good bit on a second. These are her Cupcake Classic Bats. And this one includes Superfine Merino, Fine Alpaca, Tessa Silk, and Sparkle. And that's by Hobbledehoy Yarn and Fiber. 4.2 ounces. I think these are in like the $35 range.
I can't remember that.
And that's Liz Stahlmeyer. She is hobbledehoyfibers.com. You can find her on Etsy. She's been updating a lot lately. She's got some really, really pretty stuff. And it's really nice to spin. It was definitely just what I needed. So there are 3 in the bag, and they come like this. So I've spun 2 already, and you kind of just unfold.
They come in little nests.
Yep. And then I just have been ripping off strips. I've been trying to get, so there's that bright pink, a brown, a dark like purple, and then a lot of some white and some silver sparkle in there. So I've been trying to grab a mixture when I rip them into strips and spin off of that. So 2 down, 1 to go, and then I'm going to do a true 3-ply and probably only get, I would say, around 100 yards because I'm spinning this thicker. Even though I'm using the lace bobbins, I'm definitely spinning this one thicker on purpose because I'm sick of spinning.
You really think you'll only get 100 yards?
I have a 3-ply? Yeah, I'd say so.
I would say you have already 100, maybe 100 and, I don't know. I think you'll get more than that.
Maybe around 120. Today's game is, it's like, let's make a deal. Yeah.
And considering the way that my luck and Laura's luck has gone lately, it'll be like 47 yards.
Hopefully more than that. Leslie was like, how many yards do you think will be on this? And I was like, if I get more than 400, I'll be happy. Because I have a reps per inch tool that's clear, and you just kind of put the single underneath. And according to that, I'm getting around 40 reps per inch, which is really fun. And then when you two-ply it, it's going to be around half of that. So like 20 reps per inch, which is a nice fingering.
Between 18 and 21, I think, is fingering.
Yep, just a nice fingering weight. So we'll end up seeing. We'll see. It's taken me since March to spin it. So into the world, cupcake bats, gourmet stash ponies with some random undyed merino. And that's been about it. Next on my wheel, because I'm going to start this and probably finish it by the time I see you guys next week, is going to be 4 ounces of BFL roving from Dawning Dreams in the pickle juice colorway. So I'd like to get that done. And that's it for me for spinning. You've spun though a good bit too.
I have. I got my Knittables spin along fiber, which is Into the World, and it was a special colorway that Chris and James created called Lavinia. And it was based on a picture of the character Lavinia from Downton Abbey. And I got it and decided I needed to spin it right away.
That's gorgeous.
Which almost never happens anymore, so I embraced that. And it was, you could choose between Superwash Merino or the Merino Silk blend, and I chose Superwash Merino because for me, Merino Silk spins, I mean, I don't think it's just for me, it spins a lot thinner, and I knew that I didn't want to spend a really long time spinning it. So I finished it actually. I spun, Laura got here Thursday night, and I spun the first half of it that night, and I started the second half and finished the second half Friday, and then plied on Saturday. So it hasn't had its bath yet. I just wound it off the bobbin this morning. It's got a gentle, like a half twist maybe.
That'll be good.
And I think it's probably a DK worsted. It's pretty heavy.
That was a misfail. I must put the wrong needle to knit with.
That wouldn't be the first time I would have ever done that. That's why I can't use 2 needles, because it always ends up all on one.
If you grab your needle and do a gentle pull, it'll tell you.
Yeah, I'm gentle and
this will
aren't.
Go through.
I always pull it the wrong way. Anyhow, this is what it looks like spun up. And I got around 300 yards. I think I got like 299 yards.
That's awesome.
Of a 2-ply. I want to say it's going to be a worsted once it fluffs. We'll see. I'll measure it once it fluffs before I put it on my in my stash. And I spun it on my matchless, which is the first time I've spun on my matchless in a while. And I really love spinning on my matchless.
Sounds like you should spin on your matchless more often.
I think I will. I think for Tour de Fleece, and we're not doing a team because neither of us have the time to keep up with it, because a lot of it happens during the prep and the occurrence.
Plus, I want to be on
SSK.
other people's teams for once. It'll be fun. I'm on the Into the World team and the Southern Cross team.
I might be on the Into the World team because I have a lot of Into the World. But I also would like, I'm going to set up some goals. Maybe we'll talk about our goals next week.
That's a good plan.
Tour de Fleece.
I probably should have thought of those before I packed to come here.
For the love of Pete. I have my body weight in fiber, and she's worried about running out. But anyway, this is my Into the World Lavinia in the Superwash Merino. 300-ish yards will determine a final weight once it's been washed and has plumped a little bit. And that is all I have spun. But I do want to spin some more. And it's funny, when Laura's around, I get more spinning done. I don't know what it is. I think it's because I can't just plug in my earbuds and knit and ignore the world like I sit and talk to Laura, so it's easier to spin. So
she ignores me too.
Sometimes. There are important things like Candy Crush in the world. Which if you haven't started playing, don't, because it will just anger you.
So I'm good with that.
But anyway. That's the only spinning I've got.
We have a book review.
We do. And I peeked through it, but Laura's going to primarily do the review because she's had it a little longer and has had more time to...
I have. I bought this at my local yarn shop, Hank of Yarn in South Haven, Mississippi. She gets in the interweave books, and this is an interweave book. It is a compilation of different patterns, all shawl designs. It's called Free-Spirit Shawls, 20 Eclectic Knits for Every Day. It's edited by Lisa Schroyer, and it retails for $25 in the United States. And I picked up this book not expecting a whole lot, but I really like the introduction chapter especially, which is size, style, and your yarn, and it's just making and wearing modern shawls. And it goes through how to choose your yarn, how to wear your shawl, all different elements of that, and then actual shawl techniques, including what different types, how to work a garter tab cast on, but also how different shapes are created. And as someone who designs shawls occasionally, I think it's interesting to see how different shapes are created in this book especially, but how they define what a semicircle, a crescent, a side to side, and different elements, because there are a lot of different elements that are brought into this. It also goes into casting off, choosing the right cast off for your shawl, bind off for your shawl, finishing tips, blocking, and then it goes into chapters, and each chapter is sorted by a common element. In this case, it's color. It's the first chapter, and so it uses color elements, and this is Basilica, which Leslie and I both liked, and it uses slip stitch.
So there's no true fair isle in this pattern. It's all slip stitches, which is a very clever way because there's no real wrong side. You can view it from either side without there being obvious right or wrong sides.
And that uses Brooklyn Tweed Loft, which is a fingering weight, and it's around 54 inches wide across the top edge and 13 3/4 inches deep, and uses a size 5 needle. So we like that. I really like this one, the Salter Path, because it is more of a semicircle, but it also uses color especially to make that lace really pop. And that is around 52, which I'm bigger, so I like bigger shawls, but also 26 deep. And with my height, I'm 6 foot tall, I really like to add that little bit of length on a shawl. I also like it because it's got different, it's not just all garter or all stockinette and then lace. It's got different textures that run throughout it. And it uses hazelnuts, and I really think that you can't go wrong with hazelnuts.
This is a fact.
So that uses a fingering weight as well. And it actually shows you the construction of the anatomy of the shawl itself, which is pretty cool. There's a Rami Hill pattern in here called Mineral, which is also knit out of fingering weight, but it's knit side to side with shaping and short rows to create a different appearance.
Almost
for
like
a crescent.
Cheesy sort of.
Yeah. And I could see that being for a variegated skein of sock yarn. It's actually 2 skeins, so it's alternating. You can do one variegated, one solid.
Yeah.
It could be a very cool way to use up, especially some stash yarn. Everything's stash yarn in my head. Cimarron by Alexis Winslow uses Luette Gem sport weight, so this one uses a sport weight. There are a variety of different weights of yarn used in this book, so it's not just all 1 skein of fingering. Right. It's a lot of 2 or 3 skeins of fingering or 4 skeins of worsted. This one uses 2 skeins of each of 1, 2, 3 different colors. Yes. And it's 58 by 27. And it's just a nice, I like how they do the fringe where the color change occurs. So those ends that you would typically have are incorporated into the fringe.
I think that's clever.
Then there is a lace section, which is more romance and whimsy meets each other. This one is Brome by Alexandria Beck. It uses a heavy worsted weight, Schopel
wool's Alberball.
In silk. It's not Zaberball.
It's in silk. I'm sorry.
In silk. And that is 3 skeins of a heavy worsted weight. And I like that's got a huge wingspan, but kind of a short depth, so it's more of a scarf shawl. So it's 80 by 12, which I really like. Like my Piper's Journey is kind of like that. It's actually got a little bit more depth to that, but I like those shaped, those more garter body, short row, curved shawls with maybe not as much depth to them. Do you want to talk about that one?
No. Sorry. I don't love every shawl in this book, but overall I do. I mean, it is worth buying, I think.
This one is Beth by Angela Tong. It's 50 by 12 again, and this one's Lorna Lace's sock, one skein. So if you're looking for a one skein shawl, I like how that's just got that garter that goes with that lace, I think, really, really well.
I like that it's got that tiny little detail on
and
the
it's
end.
more Shetland, so the garters worked first and then you pick up and knit on, which I enjoy. And actually it goes into what a Shetland construction is. Here's Framework by Mercedes Tirovich Clark, who we've met, and it's in Quince & Company Turn. If I had seen this shawl yesterday, I probably would have bought some Turn when we were at the yarn shop. It uses size 8 needles, and it's 47 by 15. And it's more of a triangle construction, which is very pretty. Our friend Heather Zapetti has a shawl in here as well, Spatha?
Spoth.
Spoth. It's a DK weight, so again, talking about different weights, and this one is 66 by 33. Lovely little piece of lace, and it's nice to do DK weight shawls. I think they go a little bit faster, especially if you're thinking for something for Camp Luby. Leslie and I think we both agree our favorite chapter is the Simplicity chapter.
I agree. I think that for me, when you have some shawls that are like really wide but not as deep, and you just decide to wrap it as a shawl, you kind of lose some of the effort of, you know, doing the lace or doing whatever the edging is. And most of the ones in this chapter, I feel like, do a really good job of keeping the details really simple and allowing the yarn to show without you having to do something incredibly complex.
So this one is
Brayusa
by Alexandria Beck. It uses fingering weight into its classic elite alpaca sock, which I actually have a ton of in the stash that I probably won't make socks out of because the alpaca is so warm. It's a fingering weight, 57 inches by 28 and a half. It's got slip stitch detail with also an I-cord bind off, which I really, really enjoy. I think it looks really nice.
I think it gives it a nice professional looking edge.
So, and I think that would be very cool, not only in that more subtle colorway scheme, but also in a nice bright with a lot of contrast.
I really like this one. This is the Meadow. I think every shawl in this book we've pronounced wrong, but
it's Maedwe. It uses Shalimar Breathless. Ooh, I actually have one skein of that, and it's 82 by 10.
And so it's knit sideways, but the ruffle is incorporated when you're knitting sideways. You don't have to go back and pick it up and do it after. And I think that that's one of the great ways you can allow the yarn to really shine without necessarily having to make a very complex piece of work.
And I think it would be great with a very variegated piece, especially. It would definitely break up any pooling that might occur.
Yeah.
This one is Elvin. It's by Angela Tong. It uses the Zabra ball. It's 49 by 15 and a half. I really like that they have the finished measurements. And I like the subtle little cable detail
It's got a
that's
little
incorporated
leaf
on
pattern.
this.
Yeah,
So,
I like it a lot. That's one of my favorite ones.
I think it's a cable. Let's see. Oh, it's not. Huh. I don't know if it's a cable or not. It looks like a cable. And then we go into texture, which is knit and purl combinations. This one it's a Carol Feller pattern. I think it actually should go in the chapter before the Simplicity. It's Euclid. It's a math person. Anyway, therefore they are not in my brain. Stop stealing my pillow. I stole that pillow fair and square.
I really love this shawl too because it is very simple, and it's another one that the yarn would really shine.
Definitely. It uses Barocco Ultra Alpaca, so there's tons of color choices that you could use with that. Alpaca will give it a great drape, and it's a worsted weight, so it's going to go really fast. Even though it's over 600 yards, 645 yards, it will go super duper fast.
Yeah.
And it can be worn as a shawl as well, or a scarf as well. I actually, if you enjoy cabling, I think Fauve would be great for you. It uses an Aran weight, but it's a very heavy cabled shawl, but I think it's just stunning in that natural color. I would probably keep it in natural.
Yeah.
Or maybe a gray or a brown.
Those are both natural colors.
And it would definitely go with a lot of different things. And I love that little bind-off detail that's going on right there.
And it would be very warm because cable eats up a lot of yardage, so you naturally have to use more yardage when you're knitting cable, so it would be warmer. This one has got that cable detail that's really pretty.
It is, and it's almost a seed stitch for the body, and that is Glen Lennox by Kate Gagnon Osborne. And it uses the Fiber Company Organic, 4 skeins of that, which is a worsted weight. So again, talking about the number of different weights that are used. And it's going to have a great drape because it's an alpaca silk merino blend, so very lovely.
And that's all the shawls. And in the back, there's a little glossary of terms with
the techniques.
It is. You do need to know how to knit to use this book, but I would say aside from that, you don't need to have any special skills. It teaches you the majority.
It does, and there's lots to do. There's also a lot of further reading. And actually, I just looked at this, and the further reading list, Wendy Johnson's Wendy Knits Lace is one of the first books listed, along with Nancy Bush's Knitted Lace of Estonia, and Folk Shawls by Cheryl Oberle, and Wrapped in Lace by Margaret Stove. So some great resources there if you're interested in lace or shawl knitting as well. And it's got a great, and I always appreciate an index in the back because there are so many techniques incorporated in this book that, like, you can really, it actually lists the top-down shawls versus the bottom-up shawls. The side-to-side shawls are all listed in the index. So if you're looking for a specific technique in general,
like I want to knit a side-to-side shawl. Show me which ones I can use.
You can find that in the back of the book. So this is Free-Spirit Shawls. This is a book I purchased. It's 20 eclectic knits for every day. I've seen it in a bunch of different yarn shops. If your yarn shop, your local yarn shop, carries interweave books, it's probably available there, and it retails for $24.95 in the United States. So there you go. I enjoyed it a lot. That's why I don't buy books typically unless I feel like I can get something out of it. In fact, I'm getting to the point where unless I can knit, I plan on knitting like 2 or 3 things from a magazine. I won't even pick up a magazine anymore unless I know I'm going to knit out of it.
And that's mainly because at least after a year or sometimes more, you can download the individual pattern anyway.
That's true.
So,
well, now everything is so digital that if I really decide that I really want to knit that pattern, I can go back and get the digital copy later.
That's what, like, and we may review Interweave's summer
love
knits
that cover sweater.
Because there are several in there that I would like to knit, and so I purchased it last week. I purchased the digital copy. Cool. So, and that's the end of our structured show.
Because this is going to have no structure whatsoever.
Yes. So let's talk about what you brought with you. So Laura's going to be here around a month, unless she just gets sick of me and needs to leave earlier. She's going to be here around a month. And you brought with you
fiber and yarn and clothes and books.
2 pounds of fiber.
2 pounds of fiber.
3 sweaters worth of yarn.
Well, one of those sweaters worth of yarn is actually a sweater in progress.
Are you sure?
Yes, it's Antler, my Unwind, and my Alicia Goes Around. Those are the only. That's the only sweaters worth I brought. So one of those is a short sleeve sweater. One of those is already half a sweater, and one of those is worsted weight.
And how many skeins of single sock yarn?
A lot.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
But I'm going to use your machine as well.
I'm not talking about the old, super sock select whatever that you probably bought 10 years ago. She bought a lot of stuff.
I did. I plan on doing a lot of knitting since I'm not working.
And I hope that you get a lot of knitting accomplished.
We'll see.
Anyhow. Oh, we do have the Yazzii bags that we need to talk about.
We need to review the Yazzii bags. I like how you tried to bust me out on my amount of stuff I brought.
She has a lot of stuff that she brought. I mean, I don't know. I guess for me, like when I've gone out of town, a lot of the problem is that there's like separation anxiety between you and your stash. Like, well, crap, I almost said a bad word. Well, crap, I'm going to be away from my stash for this long. What if I want to knit this? What if I want to knit this? So
that's true. That's why there's 3 sweaters worth. There's obviously no yarn for sale in the state of New Jersey.
No. Or in the home that she's staying in.
Obviously.
So
I'm not saying that it's illogical. I just wanted to bring a lot of my stash with me.
So Laura's sister Beck worked with a company out of Australia called Yazzii, and they make bags.
They do.
A lot of craft organization, jewelry organization, hobby in general organizational bags. And we're going to give one of them away. This is the one we're going to give away. And it's an exact copy of this one that I've already opened. I'm going to show you. So this is the one we're going to give away. It's a green bag with pockets on the inside. I will show you because it's a copy of this one.
Okay. Would you like to go first?
Yes. So this is the first one. This one is one I'm going to keep. It's quilted. It's kind of a maroony,
I like the color
red
selection, definitely.
It's got a pocket in the front here, and this is the site, Yazzii.com.
Yazzii.com.
Yep. And it's got lots of pockets in here. It's got 1, 2, 3, 4 little flaps, as well as pockets on the inside. So the first one is this zippered section. It's clear, and you've got a big zipper here. I thought for myself, I'd probably put tape measures, maybe wraps per inch tools, a lot of little gadgets I'd probably put in this section. The first, or the rest of them I think I probably use for needles, circular needle storage. And then maybe some stitch in the middle, there are smaller pockets. I would probably use these for stitch markers, waste yarn, crochet hooks, other little things I currently keep in my knitting notions pouch, which is a huge disaster and needs to be redone because it is full of fail. And then another big flap for needles or what have you. And on the other side,
hooks would work well.
Yeah. On the other side, there's an exactly identical pouch, so it's a huge zippered section.
I like that you can see everything.
Yes.
Like all the pockets are clear, so it's really easy to see what's located
And
where.
the construction is really well. I can't see the majority of the seams, but it feels very sturdy. It feels like it's going to last. There's some like strength in the seams. I feel like it's not going to fall apart. So, and they've been making bags for a really long time. So, anyhow, this is the first one. I think this is just called a craft organizer on the site. I'll try to link it in the show notes to what this specific exact one is. And these are not the only colors that it comes in. These are just the ones that we chose to get. So this is the one that I'm keeping. And this is the one that you can win. Exact copy, just in green.
And then I have the jewelry organizer, which actually I started putting some stuff in. So it comes in a variety of colors, and it looks like this. It's a nice small, like almost like a CD case size, I would say.
It looks like a cosmetic carrier almost.
Yeah, definitely. And when you open it up, there is a band for your rings, but if you were a knitter, you could definitely use this for stitch markers. Your larger stitch markers could just go right on there and snap right on, and you can put them on and off very easily, especially if you have the pretty dangly kind.
You could use that for a lot of stuff, actually.
Yeah, like you could put scissors off there through the small scissor hook, puppy snips, like very, very useful.
Yeah.
A zipper clear pocket there, a bunch of small zipper clear pockets. And I actually, I taught a beading class last week, so I have some beads stuck in there. My little container that I put my beads in, but 1, 2, 3, 4 of those on each side, so 8 total compartments there. Another zipper pocket right there, so lots and lots of zipper pockets. And then you open the other side, a big zipper pocket there. And then larger flips. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 of those there. And then if you were using this as a jewelry case, something to put
your bracelets on.
Bracelets on.
It comes out.
But you could just remove that and use it
as storage.
Probably there's a little bit of Velcro there, but it's the rough part of the Velcro is actually on the actual piece that you take out, so it's just the soft Velcro that's not going to catch. So very, very cool. I definitely could see using this for needle storage, for crochet hook storage, for beads. I definitely am thinking I could put my super floss and crochet hooks in this bigger pocket, or maybe the crochet hooks towards the back, and use just one side for beading stuff. Maybe buttons on the other side if I wanted, or buttons on this side, and just use this for needles and crochet hooks on this side. There's a lot that I could do with this.
It could be your end-all, be-all notions pouch.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like there is, especially because I do teach the classes, and it zippers closed, and the zipper you can pull on. It's got a lot of strength to it, a lot of structure. It's really sewn in there well. Trust me, if it lives at my house, it goes through the ringer pretty often. And I can also see these being pretty machine washable too. If you spilled something on them, being able to wash it pretty easily.
It feels like it's all made with heavy-duty fabric, heavy-duty zippers. The clear parts of them are made with thick plastic. So
yeah, definitely. But as a teacher, I can throw all my stuff in here and have it all ready for class, even sorted out by each individual student. So I can say, you know, go through there and pick out the beads that you want to use.
Right.
And just have them go through and zip and unzip. So I found this very, very useful. And I think this is called it's a jewelry case, like the deluxe jewelry case. All their stuff is really easy to find on their site. Their site just got a full makeover. It's really easy to locate. I think I actually have it pulled up on my iPad maybe. And
we'll link to the site in the show notes.
I might have taken it down. Oh, this is the deluxe jewelry. And it's shown in like a purple deluxe jewelry storage. So you can see right there. And it comes in purple, navy, black, maroon, and green. So that's actually navy, but there's lots of very cool. You can kind of see suggest other things on the other side, different cases. I just like the clear pockets, like that sells me on something, really being able to see what I'm organizing.
And that's my main problem with my current Notions bag, is it's a, you know, it's a small zippered bag, but it's like a bottomless pit. You know,
everything kind of goes to the bottom.
I have to hunt and pull everything out to find what I'm looking for, and I feel like with the clear one it would be a lot easier to very quickly find what I need. So yeah, so we'll give one of these bags away. We'll start a thread, and we'll have the prompt for what you need to do in the thread.
So thank you so much, Yazzii and Beck, for setting us up. We really appreciate it.
And you can check out their site if you're interested in getting any of your own.
Yep.
What else for favorite things? Oh, Knitting in Public Day.
So we went to the KIP, the Knitting in Public Day at Woolbearers in
Mount Holly, New Jersey. We met up with Sue's in the morning.
Yep.
And then
we drove to Sue's. This is an important part of the story. So we drove and met Sue's, and I left my phone in the car charging by mistake.
Yeah, unintentionally.
Unintentionally.
Which we realized when we were about halfway to Mount Holly.
Yep, and we went to a farmer's market in Mount Holly area.
It was the Columbus Farmers Market, or it's like a flea market, and there's a part of it, a building, that the Amish community there sells their baked goods. And so we got some really yummy baked goods.
I resisted. I was good. I was in the bulk candy aisle looking for Star-Kissed fruit gems for most of that.
I got, and I haven't eaten, I did get a little like pastry there, which was really good. It was a little too rich for me actually, which is not a common thing, but I got a loaf of peach bread. So it's a sliced peach bread, peach flavored bread, and it's stuffed with peaches. Like,
that sounds really good.
And then I also got a half dozen of their homemade cinnamon rolls topped with this like liquid sugar.
I didn't see that.
Yeah. So,
yum.
we'll eat those at some point this week. And Sue's got some of her own stuff. Their pound cakes looked really yummy.
A lot of their pies looked delicious.
Yeah.
If we hadn't had everything sitting in the car all day, I would have definitely have gotten a pie.
But we left there and we went to Wool Bearers and we did a little shopping. And did you bring what you bought?
I did.
Okay.
I got some, because I'm going to Knit Vivid as well. And I was trying to think of what I already had in my stash that I could knit Vivid out of. And I have an obscene amount of Sweet Georgia. And this is the Tough Love. So it is 425 yards. And I can get probably around 5 to 6 of those squares out of just this.
Because according to the pattern, you need 70 yards per fingering weight square.
So that is the plan for this, and then I have some more in the stash. So I, of course, didn't bring Sweet Georgia with me. So when I get home, I'll have...
But if you get through 5 squares, I'll be surprised.
Yeah, I'll be surprised too. So I'll have this available. And it's a superwash wool nylon, so that it will
That's a really
wear
good blend,
really well.
yeah.
Yep. And she actually, Sweet Georgia just released her fall line of colors. She posted on her blog what they're going to be, and I think there's a gorgeous blue that this would go perfect with, so I can pick up a skein here or there as well. But I definitely have a brighter orange bison, which is brown, and a purple already in the stash that I can use.
Cool. That's a good way to do it. Stash bust.
Trying.
Plus, I mean, I see Vivid as a long-term project. I do not see it as something I'm going to finish this summer.
No.
I see it as something I'll do a couple of squares in between projects, and then maybe in a year I'll have enough squares. You know?
Yep.
Like, I'm not in a hurry for it. I don't need a wool blanket. I like it, and I want to enjoy the process of knitting it. So.
Definitely. So you got your stuff for Vivid there.
I actually was very good. We went to 2 yarn shops, and I spent under $40. Because I had the Dream Killer here. Totally naming this Dream Killer.
Oh, that's sad.
But I got the natural colors of the vintage. Well, I mean, they're dyed, but they look naturally colored. Of the Barocco Vintage and the worsted.
We call that like the earth tones.
Yeah, there you go. Earth tones. There you go.
There we go.
And so we went across the street and we sat and knit for a while.
Yes.
We met up with Dorian, Simply Me 52, who looked slamming. That's my word.
Yeah.
In her top that I can't remember the name of the top.
She knit a sweater out of Quince and Company
Of
that
4
was
skeins
absolutely gorgeous.
of Quince and Company, and she looked wonderful in it. And
Beck and Matt were there.
Beck and Matt came, and Sharon came. Seashore Sharon.
She brought biscotti, which is delicious.
I've never met up with Sharon where she hasn't brought me food. Like, and I adore her. So she'll be at SSK. So for anybody who's going to SSK, if you did not get a chance to sit and talk with Sharon last year, you should this year.
And Dorian as well.
And Dorian as well. Yes. And Sue's too, although she might be hiding because she's not as social butterfly-y as Laura. And I act like a social butterfly when I have to. But anyhow,
we met and we knit with a bunch of people from that local area, and it was lots of fun. And then we went out to lunch and we had delicious food. There's a restaurant there in town that's over by the quilt shop that was
called Robin's Nest.
So good, and I had chocolate mousse and it was delicious.
That wasn't her meal. That was her dessert.
No. I had a salad for my meal. I had crab cake salad and then chocolate mousse.
Yes.
So it was really, really good. And then we went to the quilt shop and sharing out some fabric, and I got Mama Linneman some patterns.
Yep. And then we went to Philly.
We did. It was kind of a spur-of-the-moment trip. We weren't planning on it.
Yes. And we went to Hidden River Yarns, which is a shop in Mayanunk, in the Philly area.
It was very cool. And there was a wedding party there taking pictures,
Yes.
which was really sweet. Not at the shop itself, but back behind it.
Yeah. And I like the owner of Hidden River a lot. She's really nice.
She definitely is. And she carries Quince and Company and...
the Fiber Company.
Fiber Company, and Amy of the Beth of Fat Squirrel Speaks really likes that Peace Fleece.
Yes.
So I almost got a sweater's worth of the DK Peace Fleece, but she was short one skein, and I just could not make it work in the sizing. I couldn't find anything that would work with it. So I was good. I didn't get anything. I put everything back and was very, very good because I knew the Kirby Werby update would be later that night.
So then we left.
We did.
At like 6:30. Like, we were out all day. And so we left at around 6:30 and started the drive back. There was traffic, so we didn't get back to Laura's car until just before 8 o'clock, at which point we had to sit so that Laura could stalk Kirby Werby.
And I totally failed. Totally. I got one special order that I had already placed, like that was reserved under my name. But she sold out fast, like 2 minutes fast.
Yes.
And I was trying to get it from Leslie's phone and was total fail. And so we got in my car and drove back to Leslie's house.
Yep.
And around a mile from Leslie's house, my ABS light came on. And we pulled into Leslie's house, shut off the car, and I was like, and Leslie was like, well, just turn it back on and see, you know.
If the light comes back on.
See if the light comes back on.
Like rebooting a computer.
And the car wouldn't start at all. Like it's dead. And it's not the battery because I just replaced the battery. So we think it's the alternator.
Yes.
And it is in the shop. So out of the 3 adults in this household
that all own vehicles.
That own vehicles.
Michael have one working vehicle.
Has the only working vehicle.
Yes.
So I brought my phone down with me because the shop is supposed to call me, and now it's, Sunday night, so I was just amazed that the shop was open on Sunday, but he said he would call me by tomorrow afternoon, so hopefully it won't be, there's a reason why I didn't buy yarn at that last yarn shop, or catch that Kirby Werby update, because my yarn money is going to something else, so, and that's fine, that's part of being an adult.
It happens. At least the car is paid for.
At least it got here.
Yes.
Like, dude, if this had happened on the side of the road in Tennessee, I would have lost my mind. In the middle of a rainstorm with semis and typhoons and tsunamis.
We're looking for the silver lining real hard.
It'll be fine.
Yeah.
So we've just been hanging out around the house, knitting a bunch, not really doing a whole lot, spinning a bunch.
I will continue to work from home tomorrow. Because it would be silly to leave take the one working vehicle and leave.
You can totally leave me.
No, I'm going to work from home.
I can survive.
Plus I can get more knitting done that way.
We'll spend tomorrow spinning. Speaking of spinning and knitting time, on Friday when you worked from home, after Leslie was done with her work, we watched some podcasts, and I wanted to tell you about 2 of the podcasts that we watched, because they were new to me and I really, really enjoyed them. The first one is by Rhymes with Maria, who's Malia. Do you remember
the Yarn Raising? Yarnraising.com is the site.
And so if you are a spinner and you're really interested in spinning, she does do knitting as well, but she does a lot of spinning.
She makes me feel really bad about myself when it comes to spinning. Yes.
But she's got a great sense of humor, and
she's very knowledgeable.
Really, really enjoyed her podcast. So you should check out Malia, and that's yarnraising.com. And she is on iTunes, because we watched her on iTunes channel. That's how we watch. When we're together, we sit and watch on the iTunes channel.
On the Roku box.
Roku, yep. And then we also watched the people that you met at Maryland Sheep and Wool. Oh, no, I can't remember the name of it.
The team?
The 2 of them.
2 Tangled Schemes?
Yes, that's who we watched.
Yeah.
And they were new to me. I hadn't watched them
before.
I'm
terrible with names, so I'm very sorry. But I do remember meeting the both of you. But I just, for some reason, your names are gone. But it's 2 Tangled Schemes. And they have a really wicked sense of humor. And I think that they would be a lot of fun to sit down and have drinks with.
Yeah, they were knitting some really interesting things as well. So I really liked them as well. We also caught up with Hannah.
Knitting Traveling Sock Diaries?
Yes, we caught up with her. And we caught up with some other people that we enjoy watching.
And we'll continue to catch up
before. And hopefully watch some new stuff.
Yeah.
Because we tend to, I at least, I'll be honest, I have not watched other podcasts probably since March, just because my life is a little bit busy, and when I have free time to watch TV, I watch The Voice. And Psych, and Call the Midwife, and some other, I catch up on stuff like that. So, and I've been listening to a lot of audiobooks lately. I've been listening to the We Free Men series by Terry Pratchett. I'm on the last book in that series. So,
which is considered a children's series. I've listened to it twice. The entire series. I really enjoy it.
I had listened to the first 3 before, and so when the 4th one came out, it's been a couple of years, so I went back and listened to them all, and then
the TheKnitGirlls are hilarious. If you and your child like to read books together, or if you just really enjoy, I would recommend the audiobooks, honestly, because the narration for the TheKnitGirlls is fantastic.
It's very funny.
They're mythical creatures.
They're fairies.
Pixies.
Yes.
So they're supposed to be 6 inches. They're really funny. Like, if you enjoy kind of silly sci-fi, it's a great one. And it's Terry Pratchett's children's Discworld. The first one is called We Free Men.
Yep. So.
What else?
We are still doing Stash Dash.
Yes.
So I'm excited to find out my yardage. I've actually really been enjoying on Instagram, especially because Instagram, if you're not familiar with it, you post photos.
Yeah, it's kind of like Twitter, but it's all photos.
It's all photos. So I'm a very visual person. I know that's hard to believe. And I like seeing things. So that's always been my favorite part about Twitter and Clark, is actually seeing stuff besides just the text.
Right. So
Instagram is like custom made for me. But also we've got a hashtag, Stash Dash 2013. So I go on there at least twice a day and I look at everyone who's tagged their projects, and it's very awesome to see all the progress that's being made. And it's just been, I've been enjoying the chatter in the group as well. And the thread for that is in the Knit Girls group on Ravelry. So it's just been a lot. I enjoy Stash Dash. I always have. So, and it's so fun to see people, like, I got a text at like 2 a.m. last night from someone saying, I hit 1,400 yards for Stash Dash. Like, that just tickled my fancy so much. So it's just been fun. I enjoy Stash Dash, and going along with that, the sweater cal as well. We have over 70 finished sweaters.
Yes, and there's still 3 weeks to go.
So, and if you go into the finished sweater thread, it is just so inspirational. So it's not too late if you haven't started a sweater yet. There's still 3 weeks. You can be like me and pack 3 sweaters worth for a month.
And you could win $100 to your favorite yarn shop online.
Yeah.
So
it's lots and lots of fun.
Yeah.
We're enjoying that immensely.
I don't think I'm going to finish a sweater for the sweater cal, but that's okay. You know, whatever.
I'm going to try.
I would like to, but I'm just not feeling the one that I've got cast on right now. I'll get back to it, and I know that I will, because I really want the FO. I just am not feeling hitting it right now.
I don't think you have any sweater's worth of yarn back there that you could cast on something new with.
Seriously? This is ridiculous, and this is what a huge glutton I am. And I'm sorry for anybody that feels bad, but I have 24 sweaters worth. And that is ridiculous. 24 me-sized sweaters worth. So really, that's like 24 sweaters worth for...
And your stash is on Ravelry.
The tinier people. Yeah, I mean, everything's on Ravelry, so you can go
easily,
and, stalk me and determine how much ridiculous yarn I have. But, like, I've hit that point where it's insane, and I need to stop. And so it's a lot easier for me to say no now. Which, it's another reason I was able to not overspend this weekend. It's just, I have a lot of things. I don't need a lot more things.
Yep.
I think that's really all I've got. We've just jabbered. Oh, we have to give away the Friday Studios.
We have to give away the Friday Studios and the Handmade in UK book.
Oh, cool.
So, let's see.
I'll do the random number when you pull up the site. So
let's do Friday Studios first. It is for this gorgeous skein of Friday Studios in the lavender colorway. It is, and she sent us, we'll have to show them next week, the little Notions bag she sent us.
Yeah, the kaleidoscope sewn bags.
Frida was nice enough to send a lot of door prizes and tasting room little mini skeins for SSK, and in there she stuck in her new Notions bag, and I got a steampunk one. And it's just, so you'll have to, they're different than anything else I've ever seen.
So this is lavender, and it's a baby alpaca mulberry silk blend, and it's a gradient, and it is a lace weight, 800 meters of yarn, so over 800 yards. It is hand washed. So we had people tell us what pattern they would use to knit this with. And there were a lot of people who had some, like, I think I added 4 or 5 things to my queue based on the links that were in that thread. And a lot of people mentioned Bonnie at a Tin Can Knits. You could knit a gradient lace weight top out of this. And that's cool
very
idea. Cool.
There are 258, so 2 through 258.
Ooh, I need 258, not 158. Fat fingers. So between 2 and 258 will generate. The number is 167, so that'll be on the 7th page.
Top to page 7. What's the number?
167.
167 is Wool and Texan. She's got cowboy boots. And she said she would try Rock Island Shawl. Ooh, that would be pretty.
Ooh,
by
that's
Jared Flood.
Yeah.
And the gradient. So that is Wool Texan. Can you see the cowboy boots there? So cool.
So you send Laura a private message with your address, and this will be coming your way.
Definitely.
And congratulations. I hope that you do something beautiful with it, and please show us when you do. And so our next prize is for the Handmade in the UK ebook, and we want to thank Emily again for sending us a copy to give away. And the prompt for that was
a favorite pattern by Tin Can Knits, and also what yarn you would use to make that pattern. And I've really been enjoying both reading the Friday Studios because I might have bought some lace weight 286.
Okay.
And then also this the Handmade in the UK has just been really cute to see what you would make, but also what yarn you would use. And I love it when people posted pictures of the yarn that they would use as well.
So this is between 2 and 286. So I will hit generate. And it says the result is 152.
So 152 would be on page what?
7 again.
7 again? Wow.
Lucky 7s this week.
And that is Susie Knitster. And she would knit goldfish from Tin Can Knits. That's a very cute kids pattern. It's an adorable child's sweater with goldfish swimming across the yoke. I would choose for Baroka Vintage DK.
That's a great yarn.
It is a wonderful soft yarn, perfect for a child. My niece is having a baby in September, and that would be perfect. Well, the book, and that's Susie Knitster. The book that you just won also has a lot of baby patterns.
Yeah, a lot of beautiful sweaters, and the Vivid. Perhaps you'd like to knit a Vivid.
There you go.
So congratulations to you, and you just PM Laura again. She'll get you in touch with Emily, and we'll get you the digital copy.
Yay!
So we love giving stuff away.
It's fun.
Because we love like talking about wonderful people, like the Handmade in the UK, Friday Studios.
Friday's wonderful.
And we get to love on it a little bit.
And then we send it to your house.
Give it to you. So that we can pass on the love, and then once you finish something with it, we can ogle it, and we can be like, oh.
That was fun. One of my favorite parts about when I went down to Vicksburg was Karen.
KDMC 1229.
Yeah. Karen was wearing socks that she had knit out of yarn that she had won from us. And just to see that, and she showed them off to me, that was just so much fun.
It's a cool circle to see it all come back.
It is very, very neat. So, anyway.
We have talked a long time.
I'm sure we have. I hear Michael making dinner and my stomach is going, I know you ate those pizzelles, which you can't get in this house.
Which are cookies.
And they are delicious cookies.
Yes, but my lovely significant other is cooking salmon, and we are going to have wine. I'm going to have wine, she's going to have beer, and we're going to enjoy a nice, quiet, self-pitying dinner, I think.
Leslie breaks all the things.
Yes.
She's not allowed in my car anymore.
I think I'm beginning to like emit this radioactive field around me where things break, but I'm looking at it as all the bad things are happening before SSK, so SSK can be this
SSK is going to be a breeze.
Next week we are going to TNA. Do you want to talk a little bit about what TNA is?
Are we going next week or the following week? We're not leaving before Sunday. We're leaving the following week.
That's right. You're right.
So next week we'll be here, and then TNA, maybe we'll try to get a special guest.
Yeah, we'll have to see, because
we haven't asked them yet.
TNNA is TNNA is the National Needleworks Association,
and it's a trade show.
Yes, it's basically it's a place for all the professionals in the needlework world to get together. And in June there's a market, and so you can go if you're like a yarn shop or a company. Basically, you can go and you can see all the new stuff that all the companies are putting out, but you cannot take video, you cannot take photographs.
You can't buy anything.
You can't purchase and leave with anything. you can just place orders. So we can't do any video while we're there, but we may meet up with some folks that are going to be there and possibly meet them off site and do like a, you know, maybe a record something. I don't know.
Wouldn't that be fun, Neelix? Would that be fun?
But,
he's like, I don't know human what you're saying.
Yeah. But you sound happy, so I'm happy.
I will pee on you if you keep talking like this.
Yay! So you guys have a wonderful week. We'll talk a little bit more about TNNA next week. And until then, happy knitting.
Bye, y'all.